Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be starting a new series of blogs that are very personal in nature. I'm LaShawn Turner. A lot of people know me as Lady Impress. They know me from being in PR, being in media, being in radio, producing the Blaze in the LA TV show. And my company, Urban Stars Media, has been helping independent artists for more than a decade to get exposure. I have, in the last few years, been experiencing some health issues, and so I've decided to pivot just a little bit and to share my autoimmune journey. So just right off the cuff, I'm coming to you from my bed where I've been for a month. And just on my cell phone video is the best I can do. So I apologize for the quality if it's not so good. But so just a brief recap of how I've been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in 2018. And then after that diagnosis, so if you don't know, an autoimmune disorder is where your own immune system mistakenly attacks your body, mistakenly identifies your body as foreign, and tries to attack you with pain and swelling, essentially. And so I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in May of 2018. I had to retire from work because I have several joints that are very bad. Right hip, both knees need to be replaced. And I have arthritis in my feet and my spine, everywhere. So I at that time in 2018, I opted for dietary changes. I started using CBD. I was able to not go on any type of other medications for the arthritis, for the rheumatoid arthritis, except for like Mobic or meloxicam, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. I was using Voltaren cream when needed. I stopped eating wheat bread in 2019. I used to love wheat bread, but didn't realize that, the gluten was a trigger. And after I stopped eating wheat bread, I had a lot of success with pain relief. And it just never dawned on me that I was actually in some ways feeling better, but I guess underlying I was maybe getting worse. So fast forward to this past year in 2021 in September. I was doing really well. I was actually thought I was in remission. I didn't need any devices to walk. Every once in a while I would have a limp. Every once in a while I would have knee pains and throughout my body. Very manageable, very manageable. But in September, I went swimming in a pool, and I felt like after I had it might be the last time I'm ever in a pool, but it was the best time. I was diving, I was underneath, I was doing all kind of stuff. But when I got out of the pool that night, I had a headache, and my ears popped and water flew out my ears. And the next day, I felt like I had a headache. And then the next day, the headache got worse. And then I noticed that my eyes started to swell. So I assumed that I had caught something in the pool. But really, so I contacted doctors, and they started me on medications for sinusitis. So to make a long story short, my face turned into one big rash. It was like my whole head swole. My face turned into one big blistery rash. And then it turned into these purple circles that were around my eyes. And these purple circles, this rash, if you look it up if you look up heliotrope rash online, you'll see what I looked like. My whole face swelled up. And for months, the doctors were treating me as though I had cellulitis. I was on many antibiotics, several different types of antibiotics. They treated me. They sent me to an allergist who said it wasn't an allergy. They sent me to the rheumatology who ran a whole bunch of tests, but none of the stuff came back conclusive other than my known rheumatoid arthritis. So then they sent me to an ophthalmologist because I was so swollen. They wanted to rule out whether I had some blockages in my tear ducts and my tear system. I had an MRI of my eyes. I had CT scans. I had all kinds of tests. I actually saw a total of about 14 doctors over the course of 4 months. So the last specialist they sent me to was the dermatologist. And the dermatologist, when I walked into his office, he said, "You have either rosacea, eczema, or an allergy." And he was very confident. So he started me, and I felt like after having going through all these people, when he seemed pretty confident. So he started me on doxycycline for rosacea. I was being treated for over a month for rosacea. Nothing was helping. So to make a long story short, at this point of how I got my newest diagnosis of unspecified connective tissue disease. So the dermatologist wanted to biopsy my face. I would not allow that because he said it would leave a scar. And around Christmas of 2021, I started getting very short of breath to the point whereas I knew something was very wrong and I had to go to the hospital. So one night when I realized, I said, no, this is something new. This is serious. I went to go take a shower, and when I lifted up my shirt, I saw that I had a purple patch under my right arm. So that was the patch that the dermatologist was able to do a biopsy on. I went to the ER on December 22nd. They did a CT angio and said I had pneumonia. They put me on medications, more antibiotics for pneumonia, and breathing, gave me an inhaler. And I came home, and the next day, which is the last time that I've been out of this bed, out of the house, was December 23rd. And I made it somehow to the dermatologist. The dermatologist did the biopsy. The biopsy came back with showing cells of Lupus profundus, which is a rare connective tissue disorder. And it also showed significant, signs of dermatomyositis. So with that information, he sent me back to the rheumatologist, who gave me my secondary autoimmune disorder of UCTD, or unspecified connective tissue disorder. She immediately, I think, noticed that, okay, now this is truly in her realm, especially because of now I'm having the shortness of breath. So my immune system is attacking various parts of my body. It right now it's messing with my lungs. My CT angio showed a little bit of inflammation around my heart, I think. And so she decided to put me on to start me on medications. And let me back up. This is kind of the focus of this one. So I got my diagnosis of unspecified connective tissue disorder. Well, what happened was I went into the mother of all flares. Now, I've been rheumatoid arthritis. I've been flared before, but this one was different. And so I literally, at some point, I was asleep one night, and I literally bolted up in my sleep, feeling like someone was stomping on the back of my left hand with a boot. Like an oversized 600-pound man was stomping on the back of my left hand with a boot. It was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life. And I woke up screaming. I woke up and I pulled a pillow over my head and I just started screaming. And I looked down at my hand and it was like in a claw. And overnight, my hands had swole up and my pointer finger and middle finger were so swole that, and my middle finger was bent and crooked. It was the worst pain of my life. Not only had that happen, but my shoulders were hurting and my bicep muscle had swollen. The worst imaginable pain ever, ever, ever. 10 out of 10 don't even describe it. I lost the ability to use my arms for approximately 7 to 10 days. So the rheumatologist said, gonna have to start you on, medication, obviously. And I've really been, I'm not the type of person to take pills. I'm not the type of person to want to be involved with medical, even though I was a nurse. And so I was very scared to start taking any medications. And I definitely didn't want to knock out my immune system, specifically during COVID. So there was no alternative for me. There was no more, don't eat gluten, watch what you eat. No, I was having serious problems with my breathing and could not use my upper extremities. So then I talked to the rheumatologist and I just begged her, please start slow with me. I'm very naive on pills. And she wanted to bring me in and start me right off on methotrexate because she said I was pretty serious. But because of COVID, she said I would need to learn how to do the methotrexate myself as an injection every week. And she said because of COVID and because of everything, she said she opted to start me on CellCept, a pill. And I was much more amenable to being started on CellCept. So CellCept is a pill that they give people who are getting transplants. So say, for instance, if you've got a kidney transplant, they give you CellCept for the rest of your life or whatever, so that to keep your immune system from attacking this tissue, your new kidney. So the same principle with autoimmune disorders, they give you the CellCept to try and keep your immune system from attacking you. And I've been on it for over a week now. And so far, so good. I haven't had any side effects from it. It's about to be increased after the second week to double what it is now. And of course, I had to go on high dose steroids because the pain unbearable. This is a pain I will definitely say was suicidal in nature. And the reason why I wanted to make this video post, because people always told me that everything that I do, I made it look easy. I wiggle from being a writer at Newsbreak to creating TV shows, to creating radio shows. And people just say, oh, everything you do looks so easy. This, not easy. And despite what you might see me post sometimes on Facebook recently about this journey, I just wanted everyone to know that this is not easy. And that the reason why I decided to wipe out my immune system in the middle of a pandemic is because the pain was not bearable at all. And not being able to move your arms, not being able to open a bottle of water. I actually couldn't hold a fork for days. and I had to only have like finger foods, and I could not do anything for myself, and it's very, very difficult. So I know when I made my first post on my website and on Facebook, where I post everything, I had said that I wanted to make my second blog post would be to explain why I decided to knock out my immune system in the middle of a pandemic. So no choice. So 1 week, let's see, 1 week into the high dose steroids, I have regained like the function of my arms. Like, I can lift my arms up now. There is still a little bit of pain, I would say, about a 3 to 4 out of 10. And I found some gloves to help with some of the swelling at the back of my hand. And they're called compression gloves, arthritis gloves. And it has a strap that goes around my wrist that stabilizes that wrist joint, because that's also was swollen and hurting. And I've just been in a fierce learning curve over the last 2 weeks. And having to learn about the medication, having to learn about a whole new lifestyle change again, having a second autoimmune disorder diagnosis, having shortness of breath. I've had to learn a whole lot. So what I want to do with my autoimmune blog post, this is not something this is not like a media thing. This is personal. This is just, I'm sometimes, I won't be able to, like, today is the first day that I've actually just put my hair on, and I was able to put it on myself, and, so slowly but surely, but I don't care how I look. What's important here is that if there is someone who needs to know, or who needs to hear something that I have to say, or if anything I can do to help anyone else, that's the whole point. So what I've decided to do is to make my blog post. I am going to be talking about the gluten-free journey. I'll be doing some reviews on some of the gluten-free products that I'm eating, and things like that, and the medications, how I'm doing on the medications, how the journey is going. I think I have a lot of things, but one of the main things I want to accomplish, I've always got something. When I was looking for months and months for pictures of a black woman with the rashes on my face, I saw plenty of lupus rashes on faces. No rashes of black women really with dermatomyositis. I'm going to be, like I said, when the rheumatologist did the workup the first time, none of that stuff came back, but I have positive, except for my rheumatoid arthritis, but I have symptoms of Sjogren's, dry eyes. They did diagnose me with dry eye disease, and the ophthalmologist did say I probably did have Sjogren's, but no one gave me the diagnosis. But I have symptoms of Sjogren's with dry eyes, dry nose, dry mouth, extremely dry mouth at times. I also have a lot of the other sprinklings of symptoms of the unspecified connective tissue disease disorders. So that means there's all these connective tissue disorders, these autoimmune disorders and connective tissue disorders. And sometimes you'll have all the symptoms, but the lab tests haven't turned positive yet. And that's where I'm at. And that's why they have this category of diagnosis of unspecified connective tissue disorder, except for the fact that I did have a skin biopsy. So mine is not as unspecified as it seems, because it did show that I have lupus profundus and most likely dermatomyositis. So it's just a matter of what your immune system wakes up and wants to do on a day-by-day basis. I guess that's really what it is. But hopefully with the medications, this is going to settle down. But what I wanted to do was to be sure and share my pictures I'm probably not going to be able to upload them here on these videos because I'm not going to be editing these videos. These are just coming straight from my cell phone. But if you go to my blog, LaShawnTurner.com, and click the autoimmune tab, you'll be able to see pictures in my first blog post of my rashes. And so I think it's important that Black women have, something that when you go online and you say, what kind of rash is this? Do I have, might I have dermatomyositis? Do I, that you see pictures of how the rash looked on my face. Purple, rings, and things like that. The only picture that I don't have on is the lesion under my right arm because it's kind of close to my right breast. And so I can't really get a good picture of that, but the whole thing with like dermatomyositis is you have like these purple rashes. And so yeah, I definitely had that. So I think as I have thoughts, I might have many videos as I have thoughts about this whole autoimmune disease journey. And like right now, I'm already thinking, there is a very strong psychological toll that these diagnoses take. Not only physical, because you can't do anything, and you're basically an invalid or handicapped and in so much pain. I did join a lot of groups on Facebook, and I joined groups when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid too, but they were so depressing. But now I see that the benefit of them and the fact of some information sharing and just, commiserating, I guess you could say. And so I am following a lot of the groups, and I'm just trying to learn how to live with my diagnosis and find some purpose in all of this. And I hope that if you're a fellow autoimmune warrior, sufferer, that you will like and subscribe to my channel and follow my blog, and be sure and just reach out to me if you have questions. Like I say, the main things I'm wanting to do is to be sort of the black face of dermatomyositis at some point. I want you to be able to search those photos on Google and see the horrible rashes yourself. And then to move on into gluten-free product reviews, frozen foods, snacks, things like this. And just things that I find that maybe help, mitigate a little bit of the pain here and there, like these gloves. Just things like that I just like to share. And that's pretty much it. So the reason why I wiped out my immune system, I decided to let my immune system be wiped out in the middle of a pandemic, is because I had no choice. I had no choice. And the pain is unbearable. Better now, but a week ago, definitely would have been suicidal. I'm not a weak person by any stretch of the imagination. I've had just about everything that could happen to a person happen to me. But that pain, this is not livable. And I see a lot of people in the group say this. They didn't think they were going to make it through a flare. They didn't think they were going to make it. I knew I would make it, but at some point, I think I was praying to God that I was letting the Lord know it was okay to take me, because I would not be able to live in that type of pain long. So, but of course, those steroids, gotta love them. They're excellent, but they also have their side effects. And I'm also actually right now, I've been on several courses of high dose steroids over the last few months, and I'm still getting over. Well, I don't think I'll ever get over the moon phase anymore because I'm probably going to be on prednisone for a long term now. So now I have to deal with the, the effects of the prednisone on my looks. But and I'll be talking about that a little bit more. But I just wanted to just give an introduction and also let everyone know that why the videos are just going to be very different now on my channel, and that why if you go to my website, LaShawnTurner.com, it's no longer about a radio station. I had to close my business. Everything right now is just about my health, 100%. No work, no clients, no nothing, 100%. So please, if you're interested, follow my journey and be sure you reach out to me. I'll be sure and get back with you if you do.